Ooh, what's poppin' y'all? Welcome to the full starter's guide to Dead by Daylight. This video will mainly be for people who have just gotten the game or who are interested in buying it. Dead by Daylight is a spooky, scary game where you can either play as a little bitch who can't even breathe without having a panic attack, or as a spooky, evil murderer who is held captive by a literal spider god who is so lazy that they have someone else literally do all the work for them. In each game, there are 4 survivors and 1 killer. The main goal of the survivors is to repair the generators located around the map and then open and escape through the exit. The killer's main goal is Playing as Survivor requires a decent amount of teamwork, as usually teammates are dum-dums that are about as useful as a baby pig that won't stop trying to run into a wood chipper. There are some crucial things you can do for your little pig teammates to keep them alive, such as unhooking them and healing them when they get boo-boos. To open the exits, the survivors need to complete 5 of 7 generators on the map. Each generator takes 80 seconds to charge and will require a few skill checks along the way. If you fail any of these skill checks, the generator will lose a bit of progress and will make a loud bang noise, alerting the killer to your location. Once the 5th generator is completed, the 2 exit gates will be powered. To open an exit, the survivors must pull on a lever for an unreasonably long amount of time before the gates open. Once the gates do finally open, a countdown will begin in which all survivors must escape or they will be instantly killed. If you are being chased by the killer, there are a few things you can use to your advantage that will slow the killer down. The killer is naturally faster than survivors, meaning that running in a straight line over straight ground will get you killed faster than an American tourist walking through an Iranian war zone. Running around corners and utilizing all the features the map has is crucial and is what distinguishes a good survivor from a mediocre one. You can get hit 2 times by the killer before you are downed. In this downed state, you can crawl around and heal yourself almost fully, but will require a teammate to fully heal yourself. If the killer picks you up when you are down, you can try to wiggle out of their grasp by playing the fun game, smash the buttons as fast as you can! If you don't manage to wiggle out in time, the killer will put you on a sacrificial hook. A survivor can be put on a sacrificial hook 2 times before they get fully eaten by the scary sky spider monster. When you are placed on the hook the first time, you will slowly start moving towards the second stage of being hooked. And in this stage, you will have the option to try to unhook yourself. I highly recommend you never do this unless you are a gambling addict, as the base chance to unhook yourself is 4%, so basically a 1 in 25 chance. On each attempt you try to unhook yourself, you will decrease the time before you go to the second stage of being hooked. If you end up reaching the second stage of being hooked, you will die if hooked again, and you lose the ability to try and unhook yourself and enter the survival stage. In this stage, the super scary, spooky, sacred, insatiable sky spider starts slaughtering you scornfully slowly, and you will need to complete skill checks to stay alive. You can tell what stage you and your teammates are on by looking at the marks next to your character. When playing as Killer, it can be quite overwhelming, as it's basically a 4 versus 1. Really, all you need to do is patrol between the generators, which are always highlighted in red, and then, if you spot any survivors, just go fuck their shit up. Once you down a survivor and pick them up, all sacrificial hooks will be highlighted in red, allowing you to choose the closest one to put them on. When survivors sprint, as a killer, you'll be able to see red scratches from where they have sprinted, and if they have been hit, they will leave pools of blood. This is a crucial way to track down targets and makes you feel like Sherlock Holmes tracking down a criminal who stole someone's precious beans. You can tell how close a generator is to being completed by looking at the 8 pillars on the side. You can damage partially repaired generators, which will greatly reduce the current progress on that generator. This should usually only be done when you see a generator that has 4 pillars or more moving. If you catch a survivor doing an action, such as rescuing a survivor, repairing a generator, or hiding in a locker, you can instantly catch them without having to hit them at all. This is extremely useful as it allows you to bypass the whole strike, scream, run strategy.
So, strike, scream, and run. All right, let's try it.
There are a wide variety of possible maps that can be played on. No matter what map it is, hooks and generators will always spawn. Depending on the map size, the amount of hooks is either increased or decreased. There will always be 7 generators no matter what. On each map, there will also be wooden pallets, vaultable objects, lockers, totems, a basement, and a hatch. Wooden pallets can be thrown down as mini barriers by survivors. If survivors time the drop right, they can actually stun the killer. You can also vault over these pallets, allowing survivors to basically become Sonic and literally run circles around the killer. There are also other vaultable objects like fences, windows, or some walls. Killers can also vault these objects, excluding pallets, but it is considerably slower for them and they will often choose to just go around. Lockers will spawn in abundance on every map and can be useful for the survivor as it can be used to play mind games and hide from the killer, but usually killers can easily figure out if a survivor is hiding in a locker, so I tend to avoid them when I'm playing survivor. Another thing to note is that if a killer catches a survivor in a locker, it instantly picks them up even if they're at full health. Some killers have tools that must be replenished at these lockers, meaning they might randomly open lockers, so always be careful when hiding. There are small bone clusters called totems that are spread around the map. Some killers will have effects that will be assigned to a totem randomly on the map. As a survivor, you can cleanse these totems to completely remove the effect. The game spawns 5 dull totems at the beginning of each match, which get activated depending on the different hex abilities active. Survivors also have a few teachable perks that can put positive buffs on the totems. You can tell the difference between a positive and a negative one between the fire color on the totem. On each map, there is a basement. This basement contains 4 unbreakable hooks and usually only has 1 entrance. This means it is an extremely hard place for survivors to be saved from, and if a killer manages to drop a survivor near it, they usually beeline to put them down there. In the basement, there will also be a chest containing an item. There are a few of these chests located around the map, but usually are useless as it is rare to get anything useful from them. There is one way that survivors can escape without having to open the exits, which is the hatch. The hatch will spawn in a random location on the map and is usually very difficult to find. The hatch will stay closed unless there is only 1 survivor remaining or a survivor uses a purple or pink quality key to open the hatch. If the killer finds the hatch when it is open, they can close it. Doing this will make the escape gates be openable even if all generators haven't been completed. One of the most unique things about Dead by Daylight is the amount of recognizable characters it has. Freddy Krueger, the Demogorgon, Michael Myers, Background Crow number 45 from The Birds, Ghostface from Scream, and my favorite, Bill from Left 4 Dead 2. The amount of crossovers is actually incredible and is one of the main draws to the game for many players. Some players just want to get chased by sexy Michael Myers because why not? Unfortunately, to unlock a lot of these characters, you need to buy the DLC they are in or use the premium currency the game has. While there's not much difference between the gameplay for survivor characters, killers have wildly different playstyles that often completely change game mechanics or add new ones. One example of this is Freddy Krueger, who can send people to a nightmare realm. Or the Nemesis, who requires you to take vaccines. The cool thing about the Nemesis killer is that if any survivors in your game are anti-vaxxers, they won't take the vaccine and you can kill them easily. It's like, come on, it's so easy. Killers have a basic attack and a unique ability. Every killer's basic attack is a melee strike that reduces 1 health state. Some killers have the ability to inflict the exposed status, which allows survivors to be downed in a single basic attack, no matter their health state. For the unique abilities, it really depends on the killers. Some have movement abilities, others have ranged attacks, and some have stupid abilities that are so frustrating that you would rather play Russian roulette with a fully loaded gun than playing against them.
Why don't you just kill me on impact? Oh! That's so cheap. I'm sorry. That is so fucking cheap.
The main difference between the Survivor characters is the 3 unique perks they come with. These perks are only available for that character, but can be unlocked for other characters by reaching level 30, 35, and 40. Some of these perks are insanely overpowered or add new abilities, like Decisive Strike, which allows you to break free from a killer's grasp, or Lithe, which grants an insane speed boost when you vault over something. Killers also have 3 unique perks which can be taught in the same way. There are way too many perks to feasibly go over each and every one, but it isn't hard to tell which perks are useful and which ones are doggy doo-doo. To level up a character, you must spend blood points in the web. Every time you buy everything you can on the web, your character levels up. After a while, however, the scary spooky sky spider will be a dick and will lock things in the web, so you have to start choosing exactly what items and upgrades you want. After reaching level 5, 10, and 15, you unlock the ability to hold multiple perks. The max level for a character is level 50, which allows a player to prestige with that character, which basically completely resets the character, all upgrades and all items go kerpoof. Luckily, the 3 unique perks for that character stay unlocked for all other characters, so you don't have to worry about getting them back to level 50. Prestiging really only gives cosmetics, so I recommend keeping characters at level 50 and then leveling up other characters so you can unlock as many unique perks as possible. Blood points can be earned in a variety of ways, but the easiest is just playing the game. Depending on how well you do in a game, you will get the respective amount of blood points. You can also do daily quests and tome missions for a small boost in blood points. The last way is by redeeming codes given by the developers. These will often be given out on special events or dates. In addition to getting blood points to level up characters, at the end of matches, you will get player experience. This player level is basically how much you have played the game. The only real thing you get from increasing this player level is a new currency called iridescent shards. These shards can be used to unlock cosmetics, new characters, or purchase teachable perks from the Shrine of Secrets that rotate every week. When buying things in the Blood Web, you will see a wide variety of different items. There are usable items, offerings, perks, and item add-ons. There are 5 rarity levels, which go brown, yellow, green, purple, pink, with pink being the highest. For survivors, there are 5 usable possible items: medkits, toolboxes, flashlights, keys, and maps. Medkits are used to speed up the healing process and allow survivors to heal themselves. Toolboxes are used to either sabotage hooks or to repair generators faster. Flashlights are used to stun the killer, which if utilized properly can be used to make the killer drop survivors being carried. Keys and maps are used to highlight things around the survivor. The purple and pink keys can open the hatch, allowing survivors to preemptively just end the game. Doing this early in the game usually isn't the best idea, as you won't get many blood points for leaving early. If you survive a match with an item held, it will be saved and you can use it in another match. If you find an item from a dropped survivor or from a chest, you can also take it back to your inventory for another match. Item add-ons will never be found on items found in chests. Item add-ons will either add additional effects, increase the durability, or improve the speed of an item. Item add-ons will be used up even if you survive a match. For killers, they don't have any usable items, so instead they get add-ons for their basic attack or their special ability or some other unique character effects. Offerings can be used to slightly affect an upcoming match. This can be a whole bunch of different effects, like increasing blood points earned, increasing the chance for a specific map, preventing item loss, or even increasing the chance that you can unhook yourself. For killers, their offerings differ slightly, as theirs are mainly debuffs for the survivors, and killers also have the Mori offering, which is how you perform fatalities on survivors. Perks can be unlocked and then leveled up 2 times, starting at yellow, then green, then purple. Dead by Daylight has a pretty simple ranking system that might seem confusing, but isn't. There are a lot of ranks, and to rank up, you need a certain amount of pips. When you complete a match, depending on how well you did, you will either lose a pip, not lose any pips, gain a pip, or if you did really well, you will gain 2 pips. Once you rank up, you can't go down a rank, even if you reach 0 pips. So while you can de-pip, you can't actually de-rank. You will start at Ash 4 and move your way up to Ash 1, then move through the Silver, Gold, and finally Iridescent ranks. After a few ranks, the amount of pips needed to rank up will increase, and the requirements to earn pips are increased as well. Your Survivor and Killer rank are separated, and will not be affected by each other. For example, I can be an Iridescent 2 rank on my Survivor, but be a Silver 3 on my Killer. How the game determines the level of competency in the match is determined by the emblems you earn. There are 4 possible emblems that represent 4 different categories. This means that if you focus on only one category or do poorly in all categories and end up winning, you might not actually rank up. For survivors, the 4 emblems are Lightbringer, Unbroken, Benevolent, and Evader. Lightbringer is increased by working on generators, cleansing totems, and opening exit gates. Unbroken is increased by not dying and is decreased by getting hooked or downed. Benevolent is increased by being a good teammate, so by unhooking teammates, healing them, taking hits for them, or making the killer drop them while being held. Evader is increased by being chased by the killer, throwing down pallets, and other actions while being chased. If you successfully escape a chase, that also gives a nice bonus. For killers, there are also 4 emblems, being Gatekeeper, Devout, Malicious, and Chaser. Gatekeeper is increased by preventing generators being repaired and by killing all survivors before they open the exit gates. Devout is increased by sacrificing and successfully killing survivors. Malicious is increased by hurting, downing, or interrupting survivors, with additional points being added for hooking survivors. You will lose points in Malicious when you drop a survivor or when a survivor heals. Chaser is increased by, well, chasing. You gain points for finding survivors and successfully chasing them and hitting them. If you stay near a survivor that has been hooked, you will lose points. So don't puppy guard hooked survivors. It's not fun for anyone. On the 13th of each month, haha, just like Friday the 13th, get it? Because it's like the unlucky number. it's like, get it? Because it's like Friday the 13th and like Friday the 13th, so it's like that's scary. The season ends and ranks are reset and rewards are given, which is just a big pile of blood points that increases in size the better you did. And that's it. That's all the basics of Dead by Daylight. A lot of this game is just intuition and learning the map layouts and the killer's abilities. One thing that's nice is that the game doesn't force you to play both the killer and survivor, so if you dislike playing as the killer or survivor, you can just play as the one you like. While I personally like playing survivor much more than killer, I have found playing as the killer to be a useful way to find out what survivors do that annoy the killer, because god damn it, some people are slipperier than a baby seal covered in baby oil and grease. The developers constantly update the game with new killers and survivors, new maps, and balance changes. I have also yet to encounter a blatant hacker in the game, which is a nice change to most other multiplayer games. Pit. I highly recommend this game whether you want to play it with friends or alone, as both is fun. Thank you so much for watching this video, and subscribe, or I will genuinely find you and kill you. Yeah, I'm not joking. I know where you live, Jeremy. You can't hide from me, you little shit. You think you can hide, but you can't. You see, I'm gonna find.
Jeepers! Jinkies!
I'm evil. Monkey.
Why are you gay?
You don't scare me!
I would choose to come find feels.
Who says I'm gay?
Hello, Mario.
I'm a poop.
You've come. You know what they say.
Me? Gungaga.
I have
Come.
You are gay.
come.